In the early 2000s, there was a movie released called 8 Mile. You might remember it. And in that film, Eminem played the role of an aspiring rapper who was desperately trying to break into the Detroit music scene. That film references 8 Mile Road, which in Detroit is a street that serves in many ways as both a physical and psychological barrier or dividing line between the city and the suburbs. I grew up in Detroit, as many of you who know me might know, and lived in Michigan for most of my life. And if you know anything about Detroit, you know that that division, as referenced in the film, is real. There's a drastic difference between the city and the suburbs. I remember when I was 6 years old, my family and I moved to a suburb called Birmingham, Michigan. It's about 30 minutes north of Detroit. And when we moved there, I was shocked at how different the world looked. I can remember when we took our first trip to our new home. And as we were there, the ride felt like it took forever. I was shocked at how the surroundings were all new and different. And even the house itself looked like it was a maze. And at 6 years old, there was something that was odd to me when we first were settling into our new space. There's this police vehicle that pulled up, and the officers got out of the car, came up to the door, chatted with my parents for a bit, even poked around for a while, and eventually they left. I didn't fully understand it, but I thought it was somewhat strange that busy officers would take the time or take interest in something as mundane as people moving into a new home. Well, it was 1989 or 1990, somewhere around there, and as you might imagine, the sole black family moving into a community that was an affluent, traditionally white community was uncomfortable for some. And so as it turns out, some of the neighbors had called the police to kind of check out what was going on. So I didn't fully understand that then, but looking back on it now, it's one of the earliest times that I can remember feeling excluded or not belonging for reasons that I couldn't control. Well, fast forward several years later, we still lived in the same community and all was well there, we had settled in, and my parents decided to take me out of the local public school district and onto a school, a private school in the heart of the west side of Detroit. It's called University of Detroit Jesuit. And at that school, it's a private school, it drew from all areas of southeastern Michigan, and so we had individuals there really from everywhere, not just the local community. And as I think about the time at that school, there was a motto that was put in front of us all of the time. It was men for others, men for others. And we talked about it all the time. It was plastered all over the walls. You couldn't escape it. And the idea was that each of us were called to serve others' needs before our own. So even to this day, when I run into high school friends, it comes up in conversation. It resonates still, men for others. As I think back about that experience that I had when I was there, one of the most impactful things for me was how every day, individuals of all different walks of life, different socioeconomic backgrounds, cultural backgrounds, came together, worked alongside each other, developed deep relationships, many of which still exist to this day. And especially cool to me was the fact that these were individuals who would never have come in contact with each other if it weren't for being brought together in this organization. And so again, then, I didn't necessarily realize all of the significance, but now as I think about it, I realize it was an early statement to me about the power of inclusion. Each of us has the opportunity every day, through actions big or small, to either make someone feel like they're included or excluded. And for us, it isn't just about making someone feel good. We've actually taken the stance that it's a business imperative. So earlier this year, OhioHealth added our fifth value of inclusion. And this was a bold move for us as we added to a set of values that had been established some time ago. But let's imagine the possibilities. What if there's more? What if we were so committed and guided in this work that adding a value became the least bold step that we took in that direction? By the nature of the work that we do, we're a caring organization, we take care of patients every day. We have the ability to change lives every single day. So what if we flipped that and looked inward? What if each of us decided that we wanted to make that impact on each one of us, on our fellow coworkers? And so, as many others have done today, I'm issuing a challenge, both to myself and to all of us that are in this room. Let's own it. Let's not rest on our laurels. Let's not wait for the next system initiative to drive us in this work. But let's each of us take responsibility on our own, become champions of this work, and really take the ownership to lead in our own circles to ensure this becomes the great, diverse, and inclusive environment that it can be. And by doing so, we all become better men and women for others. Thank you.